souls, and welcome to my channel. My name is Marianne, here to do a deck review on the Wild Muse Oracle deck and guidebook. It was created by Vanessa Sumayina, illustration by Aaron Felix. You can get a copy of the Wild Muse either through Etsy. I was able to find it on Amazon. And you can also go directly on Vanessa's website, bowlife.com. The Oracle deck is 54 cards. It includes a guidebook, which is to inspire you to think big, be bold, and live life to the fullest. Allow the Wild Muse Oracle to spark your imagination, help you overcome perceived limitations, and fill your soul with innovation. I must tell you that I have been waiting for a very long time to purchase this. So as soon as I saw that it was on Amazon, I quickly had to get it. This is what it came in, the box that it came in. And as you see, it reads, I am strong, I am wild, I am love. But it not just only came in this beautiful box, it also came with a pouch. Inside of a pouch, velvet pouch, engraved with the Wild Muse Oracle deck, and you could just put your box in there and take it along with you wherever you go. The guidebook is just as stunning as the card, and just like all guidebooks, it does have an introduction, the different spreads that you can use with the Oracle deck, as well as each page has its meaning and the color. I love the color illustrations that match the card. It's wonderful. It's also gilded, just like the card itself. And as you open the deck, in the introduction it reads, the Wild Muse Oracle is a collection of unconventional muses. They don't just inspire, they are inspiration itself. They are traditional and unorthodox. The Wild Muse is mainstream and abnormal. The Muse contradict themselves and are relatable. They stand in their truths and let their wild nature lead the way. The Wild Muse isn't concerned with fitting a beauty standard, even if the Muse does. That isn't what makes her who she is. The Wild Muse is empowered to share her story and depth, and she has come to clear the path for you to do the same. So let's take a look at the cards. So here is the back, gold gilded, just like the book, and let us begin. now that we've gone through the flip through, I thought we would take one of the spreads from the book. The one that was calling to me was the Mending Relationships. So it's a 6-card spread, and we'll see what messages there is for you. Should you be in a situation for mending relationships, whether that be with a family member, a partner, a friendship. I must say the cards do shuffle very nicely. Okay, so it's a 6-card spread. Card 1 will represent the current energy at the present moment. The second card will represent the unspoken healing of the relationship. And the third would be representing more information from card 1 and 2. So it's a clarifier. Card 4 represents the likelihood of a resolution. Card 5 is the outcome of your interaction with the person. And then the last card represents your role in the future. So starting with the first card, we're going to ask Spirit to provide us with the overall energy. So I'll just pull the cards first, and then we'll go through it in the book. Okay, for the second card, what are the unspoken feelings or unseen feelings in the relationship? Oops. Just one card, please. Card that represents the unseen or unspoken feeling of the relationship. Clarifying stormy, and tell it like it is. The clarifier. Fourth card, one card to provide the collective the likelihood of a resolution. Let's just move this up a bit. What is the outcome? The outcome of the interaction with this person. Just one card. And the last part is the card, that one card that represents the role in the future. One card, please, that represents collective's role in the future. Okay. Okay, so for the first card, representing the current energy is stormy. So The message here is beware of your emotions taking over and resulting in some stormy weather for you or those around you. You are likely to be very sensitive to criticism and compassionless words by others at this time. Aggression, emotional outbursts, and even violence can be the result of unresolved trauma. Now is not the time for you to initiate deep conversations on topics you know can quickly get healed. Instead, find ways in which you can cool yourself off and find your personal equilibrium again. Distance yourself from situations or people who trigger you to lose control and lose your ability to keep your composure intact. Take back your personal power. You have some deep-seated anger, anxiety, or grief within you. Now is the time to deal with those emotions in solitude. Having others intervene in your process will most likely result in an unpleasant discussion that might even harm your relationships. You don't need to try to get anyone else to understand the situation. You need to understand what is going on beneath all the layers first. Take time away from the world to meditate, read, practice yoga, and ground yourself. Note that storms are often followed by rainfall. Don't hesitate to allow yourself to cry and let it all out. Sometimes that is the best remedy for unresolved feelings. You know, I feel, even though this talks about mending relationship and this card representing the energy currently present in the relationship, you know, it talks in the healing portion of the card, it does talk about healing yourself and, you know, not having, not healing from your unresolved feelings or experiences. And I feel that there may be triggers in your relationship that are having these emotions bubble up into the surface. Whether it be, you know, the stresses from work and then bringing it home, or perhaps I just feel there's something going on in your relationship that you're both kind of getting at each other. You know, like there's just so much anger and frustration with one another. And it just feels like, even though it's like surface level, whether it be like, just for example, you know, it could be financial, like it's not a financial issue, or maybe if you have children together, you know, the stresses of having, you know, coordinating effort for time with children, right? That you're so involved with your kids' activities that you're starting to lose yourselves in your kids' activities, if that makes sense. So, you know, the day-ins and the day-to-day, that is just masking what truly is the core of the issue. And I don't feel that it's one-sided. I think it's coming up for both of you. Maybe, you know, one more than the other, but there are triggering factors that are happening. And I feel that even though perhaps you are digging deep within yourself and you're trying to you recognize that these triggers are coming and it's just bursting out. Your partner may not be, or the person that you're dealing with or you're inquiring about in your relationship isn't I don't want to say as evolved, but isn't as aware as you are of your triggers. So that's starting to frustrate you a little bit, and then your partner's not understanding what's happening. So that's the current energy that I feel that's going on. Right? The second card here is tell it like it is. And this position of the card represents the unseen or unspoken feelings in the relationship. We'll read about it, but I just feel like there's a masking, and I talked about it in the stormy here, right? The current energy, there's like this mask, but nobody wants to say anything. Right? And this is where that tell it like it is comes in, which is card 9. And the message for card 9, tell it like it is, reads, now's the time for you to tell it like it is without feeling guilty about your words. As long as you are not deliberately trying to hurt the other person, their emotional response is not your responsibility, especially if they have been making you feel depleted, anxious, or inferior. You aren't anyone's punching bag, whether they realize how they are impacting you or not. Tell them how you really feel about their words and action towards you. Right? And that goes hand in hand with the overall energy. Right? And like I said, it's not just one-sided, it's both sides. Both sides are being triggered. Both sides know that there's an issue, but because you don't want to rock the boat, or perhaps you're just too frustrated that you can't be bothered, or there's no time, or you're just so busy with the day-to-days that you don't want to. And if this is a friendship, perhaps you're not saying anything because you don't want to hurt the friendship. So even though you may not be, so for example, if you are in a friendship situation, and you're not at each other, like arguing, like perhaps someone who's in a partnership might be, that stormy feeling is that battle that you're battling within yourself. You know you're upset about a situation, but you don't want to say that you're upset, or you don't want to, you don't want to go in deep to find out why you're upset. The second card in the second position is telling you, don't be afraid to say anything. Speak from your heart. As long as you're not deliberately hurting somebody, and you're using the words, the words you choose are being chosen mindfully. As long as the intent is not hurtful or disrespectful, as the card says, you're not responsible for how they react. And I tell my children that all the time, right? As long as your intention is, as long as you're speaking from your heart, and you're not being malicious or disrespectful to the person that's receiving. If the person receiving it is getting upset for what you're saying, and you're being your authentic self, and you're being truthful, then it's really them who needs to kind of go in and figure out, why do the words that they say make me angry? So you are being encouraged to kind of come out of that stormy energy, so that there's that healing, right? It'll allow you. And as a third one, the clarifier here is time to move on, and not necessarily separate from your partnership, separate from your friendship, separate from the family member that you're having challenges with. You're going through the emotions, you express how you feel, and if you look, right, it looks like it's raining in number 2. Right? And and obviously there's storm and water here. So water is, as you know in tarot, is representative of a lot of emotions. So there's a lot of emotions that's coming out, right? Here I see fire or red, and that's action. So once you're able to speak what you need to say what you want to say, and you both come from that same space and holding each other in that, and holding space for one another, it will allow you to move on. And like I said, it doesn't, I'm not feeling a separation. It's just you say what you have to say and you move on from that, right? So this card number is, oh, I can't read that, sorry, is 36. Let's read that. So the message for time to move on reads, have you ever held onto something for longer than you probably should have in hopes of it still being able to enhance your life? Like clothing you never got around to wearing, an unfinished DIY project that's still standing in the corner of your bedroom, or some unopened ingredients in your pantry that ended up expiring. Or could it be something that is financially draining you and going unnoticed, like a subscription you no longer use, or a vehicle that is costing you more than it's really worth? Learn from these minor mishaps so you can more effectively decide when it's finally time to move on and let something go. Nothing lasts forever, especially not edibles, which is why you should detach from items and projects early enough so you don't end up wasting your time or accidentally making yourself sick. Pass things on to others who would find a better use for what you no longer need. Don't beat yourself up about having wasted time or money waiting around for things to change. There is no point in that, and we all make mistakes. Your intention came from a place rooted in wanting to take action, which is what counts. Now the fourth position in this mending relationship spread is the card that represents the likelihood of a resolution. So it reads, your tribe, your vibe. 31. I have like this feeling of a 3 of Cups energy when I see this card particularly. I don't know, I just feel positive of the resolution in this spread. Right, you're going through a rough time, you talk about it, you move on from it, and now you can celebrate, right? Celebrates its success. Okay, so card number is 31. Now, me reading from the book also gives you an idea of the story behind each of the cards. So here's the message for your tribe, your vibe. Have you ever looked around and thought to yourself how different you are from those surrounding you? How much you wish that you had a group of people who were more like you, with similar interests, taste, a similar outlook in life and lifestyle that you can relate or desire to obtain? If so, then If so, then fully take the message in. If you are not on the same wavelength with the surrounding people, they are simply not your tribe. But that doesn't mean that your group or people doesn't exist. You most likely are in an awkward in-between spot where you have yet to come in contact with your soul tribe. And sometimes you also outgrow certain relationships, which is not something you should feel bad or ashamed about. Most people are meant to be in your life for some time anyway, not an eternity. When you've known someone for a long time, or you are dealing with your family, it can be hard to come to terms with the fact that you've grown apart in one way or another. You have your own views of lifestyle choices, politics, and your career. They have theirs. Try to find a healthy balance or some common denominators between yourself and your loved ones to reconnect with them. Often you can seg from a topic of conversation you agree on to a more tricky subject matter by first finding some common ground. Phases of feeling misunderstood isn't an uncommon phenomenon in long-term relationships. However, if you find that you still feel completely out of place with certain people in your life, even after putting efforts to bridge the gap, consider limiting your time spent together to protect your energy and your confidence. Don't force a relationship with anyone who doesn't understand what you're about and makes no effort to change that. There are too many people in this world who will gratefully embrace you as you are for you to be worried about those who don't. Your tribe will understand your vibe. So once you get through the first 3 steps, the 4th one is your decision to decide whether or not, you want to continue on with the relationship or you think it's time that you move through it. Now, like I said, I didn't feel when it read the time to move on, I really don't feel personally that it's you walking away or it's a breakup or a decoupling of a relationship, right? But it does have you think about it. And you'll assess it, whether it's if you want to keep this person within your bubble. Now, the 5th placement of the card is the outcome of the next interaction with the person in question. And it's titled Endless Serendipity, number 15. Endless serendipity. The message here, receiving this card is great news. There's so much in your life to be thankful for already, but that isn't stopping the universe from propelling more goodness and abundance into your life. You're being blessed with your manifestations coming true, serendipity, and a feeling of endless luck. Laugh, smile, and let yourself shine. And in the last placement, there is always a way, is the final message. And it represents your role in the future. So this is card number 34. Okay, so here's your role in the relationship in the future. The message for there is always a way is a reminder of an endless possibility that has in store for you. Even when it comes like defeat is the only option. Defeat is only an option if you make it one. Even when you face extremely challenging situations and feel like you've exhausted all your opinions, remember there is always a way. There is always a shining star of hope, another possibility as long as you put your ego aside. You have the power to choose your emotions and to create a reality in which you always find a way to resolve any difficult situations you may be facing. So that is your role in the future. Let's just close this reading off with one more card. It's the final message here for the collective. Final message, please. Here it is. Your final message is emotional baggage. Number 37. Here we go. Your final message here. How much emotional baggage do you reckon you have? For how long have you been lugging it around with you? Do you often feel guilt or disappointment when you think about yourself? Emotional baggage can fluctuate. There are times in life where you don't pack the heavy stuff and can travel with just a backpack. Other times it may feel like you are lugging around 5 suitcases filled with rocks, barely able to move or embark on your next journey. Evaluate how much baggage you currently have in your life and take action based on your findings. If you feel you are carrying many unresolved emotions around with you, consider speaking to a professional facing your issues. Start unpacking. After all, you can't fly if your luggage is overweight unless you are willing to pay a high price. On the other hand, if you feel light as a feather with just a tiny backpack of things you would like to improve, embark on a new and exciting journey. Whether that is by traveling to another country or giving a new relationship in your life, a chance now is a great time to go for it. I think that's absolutely great, especially how it plays in with Stormy and Tell It Like It Is, right? And moving on as well. At the end of the day, the whole experience in this mending of a relationship, whether you end up, it doesn't end up in a decoupling of any type, it's telling you that once you go through this whole process, release and let go, right? Don't hold on to the emotions. Talked about it, you felt it, you discussed it, you're moving on from it. From there, you're deciding whether or not you want to continue on with it, right? But then out of all of that, you still realize how blessed you are to be in the relationship or have that relationship with that person, right? And at the end, there is always a way. There's always a way to resolve an issue. There's always a way to heal. And if the decision is to decouple, that is the way. And that is okay. Right? But at the end of the day, once you go through all those pieces, you need to let go and not hold on to those baggages so you can move on. Right? And that is the way. So thank you so much for taking the time and visiting and walking with me through the flip through and the deck review. I truly appreciate your energy. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye for now.